Hi, my name's Daryl, and I'm the owner of both this ALiner Camper and also this RAV4 Prime, and I really love both of them. Primarily, I tow my ALiner Camper with my RAV4 Prime, and it really does a great job. But my only issue with towing is the fact that I can't see behind me. You know, my RAV4 Prime, it's not a super tall vehicle, and my ALiner Camper, I do have the dormers on it, which I think make it just a little bit higher. And yeah, I can't use my rear view mirror because I can't see anything back there. The other thing is I'm not a great backer-upper. So when I back up, you know, my wife typically tries to help me, but I kind of do it a lot myself. And once again, I can't see what's behind my ALiner Camper, so I'm always kind of worried about hitting something. So I've always been interested in trying an RV backup camera, something that would both help me see what's behind me when I'm on the road, you know, because you just like to have that comfort. When you look in your rearview mirror and you see what's going on behind you, I just want to have that comfort. And also, I just want to get some help with backing up. So Nicole, my wife, she's retiring pretty soon, and we're going to be doing a lot of camping and spending a lot more time on the road. So I figured now might be a good time to invest in an RV backup camera. So I did some research and I looked around at a lot of companies. AUTOVOX is one of the companies that kind of came up. They have a relatively inexpensive solution. It's wireless, it's easy to install, and it's pretty cheap. So I decided to reach out to them just to see if, you know, maybe they could send me one for review, and they agreed. So let's go ahead and talk about what came in the AUTOVOX kit. All right, so this is the camera that comes with the kit. You can see it's a little bulky. I'm not sure about the weight. I think it's under a pound, so it doesn't weigh a significant amount. Its video quality is 1080p, and I think I mentioned it is wireless. This has an antenna, so it connects wirelessly to the monitor, and the monitor has an antenna in it as well. Now, supposedly it will reach as far as 50 feet. We'll be testing it. My ALiner Camper is 15 feet, and then my RAV4 is probably about 15 feet or well, so it's probably about 30 feet or so. So we'll test it. We'll drive on the freeway to see what kind of speeds it works at. Supposedly it can display without any sort of lag or any sort of connectivity problems up to 50 feet and up to 70 miles per hour. So I mentioned this is wireless. Also, it doesn't require a power supply. And that's one of the reasons why this system is really easy to install, is you don't have to drill any holes to your camper. You don't have to run any sort of 12-volt power sources to it. Basically, it just runs off a lithium-ion battery. It'll run continuously up to 15 hours. Now, the monitor is set up to time out after 2 minutes or 4 minutes. Now, you can set it so that it doesn't time out at all, but basically when the monitor times out, the camera turns off, and so it saves its battery. But I'll probably just have it set up so that it never turns off. That's an option. And then I'll just, you know, kind of charge it at the campsite. No big deal there. The camera supports both the daylight and nighttime driving functions, so it has 2 little infrared lights that make it able for you to see at night. And it also has this swiveling head design, so you can kind of get it at exactly the angle that you want. And it's also a weatherproof design, so you don't have to worry about rain or cold or any of those other things. So they give you 3 different mounting options with this kit. The first and easiest one is probably this magnet mount. And so by default, the camera comes with a different plate, and this magnet basically mounts right to it. And then it's basically just a matter of taking that magnet and then just putting it and mounting it something metal on your trailer. Now, our A-liners on the back of our trailer, we don't have a whole lot of metal pieces. You've got a little bit of metal down here and here. You have metal here, and you have metal on the bumper that you can also use, but you don't have a lot of options. Now, well, no, you do have a lot of options, you just don't have a lot of metal on the A-liner. Now, you're going to notice on the side of the A-liner that this portion is sloped. And really what you want is you want the camera somewhere probably up here, and you want it pointed down so that you can see your bumper if possible, as well as the back of your trailer and what you're backing into. And so ideally, this is kind of the location that you want, but because this is angled or sloped, you'd actually, if possible, you'd actually kind of want it out here and then angle down, and that would really let you see it. So that's that's an unfortunate thing about the ALiner, is just how this design is. Makes it a little difficult to use this, but the magnet is the easiest option. They do have this Z-angled mount right here, which is actually what I'm going to use. So I'm going to be putting some sort of plate up on here, and then securing it to the top, and then I'll be putting this up on top of that plate, which will let me hopefully see the bumper and also see where I'm backing up into. Finally, you have this option right here. So they give you this mounting plate, and they give you some self-tapping screws. And so you could just put this wherever you want on your trailer and then just secure it in place. But I kind of came up with just a temporary solution, kind of using some kitchen utensils. I'm not going to show it to you, but I'll show you what it looks like when we get on the road, and so you can see that, you know, how the camera works and stuff. But I'm kind of embarrassed to show you the solution that I came up with. But these are the different mounting options that come with the kit. Okay, so let me talk about the display that comes with the system. So you get this 5-inch display, and it is powered, which I actually don't mind so much, because, you know, you're only going to be using it for the most part when you're in the car. And, you know, you got a 12-volt power source in your car. So it plugs into the cigarette lighter. If you don't, I think everybody still has cigarette lighters, but if you don't, I think there's adapters that you can get. It is a wireless display, and it has this small little antenna that comes with it. Now, if you do find that you're having issues with connectivity, they do also provide this extension that you can plug in either to the antenna on the display, or you can plug it in to the camera. So you can use this, but supposedly it supports up to 50 feet. We'll see. Given that I actually have it not behind my trailer, actually up on top of my trailer, I don't expect I'm going to have any sort of signal issues, because it's almost line of sight. I mean, the trailer's kind of blocking me, but it's pretty close to line of sight, so I think we'll be okay. Now, this display does support more than one camera. So if you have a need for more than one camera, say you want to maybe put one on the top of your tow vehicle just to get the kind of full length view of your trailer, and then you maybe want to put one behind your trailer, you could do that. I don't think I have a need for 2 cameras. I think where I have positioned the camera, it's going to work well for me, but it does support up to 2 cameras. Let me bring up the menu system here real quick so you can see that. So you can see that there's a pair function on here. Now, you don't actually need to pair these, because from the factory it comes automatically configured to connect to the camera, so I really like that. You have your normal controls for brightness and contrast that you can change. You have control for your mirroring and for flipping, and so if you need to do that, you can also configure how quickly it's going to go to sleep. So by default, it's set for 240 seconds, I believe. You can change that to 120 seconds, or you can change that to never. Now, I think I did talk about that when the display does disconnect from the device, that it turns the camera off, so that extends your battery life. So you can see actually the image that I have right now from my rear view camera, and so it's really sharp. I don't see any sort of flickering. It's a very stable image. Now, it does have guidelines in there currently. This system, you can actually configure the guidelines. So I've seen systems where you can take those guidelines and you could put them closer together or further apart, but you can turn the guidelines off if you feel like, you know, you don't need it. So I haven't quite determined where it is that I'm going to install the display. It does come with this suction mount, so you can put this like on your dash, or you can put it on the windshield. But for right now, I'm just actually going to keep it just in kind of my center console where my shifter is for my RAV4 Prime. And then I'll kind of decide that a little bit later, but I think that'll work for me for right now. The other thing to note is the company, they do have, instead of a 5-inch display, they do also have a 7-inch 8-inch display. And so, yeah, if you want something a little bit bigger, they can support that. The other thing to note about this system is it supports solar. And so included in some of the models is a little solar panel that you can either mount right on the camera, or you can mount it somewhere else and then connect it through a USB cable to your camera. And so, yeah, it'll basically kind of, if you're using it during the day, it's going to run forever using the solar. So that's really cool. So a couple of other things is, they say that this thing can be set up in 10 minutes. And I mean, everything just works flawlessly. I already said from the factory they configure it so that the display automatically connects to the camera. And the first time, that I had the camera turned on and I, turned on the display, it just showed up automatically. And so, if the display does go to sleep, the camera goes to sleep, and then as soon as you turn the display back on, it wakes the camera back up. And so that's great. It does come with instructions, a real simple manual. I didn't need it at all to set up the system, because it's really pretty straightforward. And the other thing about the company is they primarily specialize in backup cameras for regular cars, backup cameras for like RVs or trailers, and also dash cams. And so they do have a real history, kind of in this particular technology. And yeah, so that's it. They don't do this kind of as just like an off thing. I mean, it's primarily their bread and butter. So I think you can feel a little bit better about that. All right, so this is what it looks like as I'm traveling. And so it's really super cool just to be able to see finally what's behind me. And this is what, this is what my rear view mirror sees. Basically just a trailer. So yeah, can't see anything. Yeah, it's so cool to be able to see kind of what's behind me. It's just reassuring that I know what's going on. So I'm going to do about a 5 mile and just drive down the road just to see if I have any sort of connectivity issues. I'm going to be going about 35 or 40 miles an hour. And then I'm going to do a quick freeway run, get it up to 70 miles an hour or so, see if I have any problems there. Yeah, so I'm going 70 miles an hour basically on the freeway, and yeah, no sort of signal loss or anything. Something I didn't realize, my blind spot monitoring system with my RAV4 Prime, it doesn't really know that I've got a trailer. So yeah, it doesn't work quite as good. But what's really nice about this backup camera, or kind of like digital rear view mirror, is that you could almost use it to help you with your blind spot monitoring. So when I was passing this truck that you kind of saw behind me, I was able to see kind of where he was. You could use kind of the guidelines there to really help you to figure out where everything is in relation to your trailer. And so yeah, that was really nice. So I think once you've got it kind of figured out, I've got this truck kind of coming up on me right here, and he's just kind of level with my trailer now. But pretty much I think can see him in my side view mirror over there. Now he shows up on my blind spot monitor, but I'm going to be able to see him in my digital rear view mirror now for my RV. So yeah, that's really cool. I think this will be really helpful. Okay, so I'm now going to use this to kind of help me back up. Now, primarily I use my side view mirrors when I'm backing up. I use the philosophy where I put my hands on the bottom of the steering wheel, and then if I want my trailer to go this direction in my rear view mirror, I turn it to the left. And if I want it to go the opposite direction, so on my side view mirror, if I want it to go this direction, I turn it to the right. And so right now you can see that I'm actually at a really good position in my driveway. I probably don't have to make that many corrections. I'm a big fan of the get out and look principle. So, I really do like to get out and look just to see kind of where I am and where I need to go. But I am hoping that the backup camera here will give me just a little better idea on kind of where I am. So the way I have it set up right now, it's not really helping to guide me inside the garage, because I am using my side view mirrors to do that. But once I get into the garage, I'm hoping it will help me Yeah, so unfortunately my GoPro just died because of the heat here. It's still well over 100 in Vegas, so I'm just gonna be using my iPhone for the rest of this. And this is still what my rear view camera is looking like, so it's still not really helping to guide me in, although I can see kind of where that line in my driveway is, and so I guess that helps just a little bit. Yeah, so I'm really in excellent shape. I just basically need to keep it straight going back, but of course that can be one of the hardest things to do, actually. So now I am seeing kind of as I'm going back, kind of what I'm running into or gonna run into. So yeah, that's really helpful. So I'll keep kind of going back here. Yeah, so that is really cool. I like that. All right, so what are my thoughts? So first off, it is a great digital rear view mirror. I absolutely love the fact that I can see what's behind me. It's gonna make traveling just so much easier. And my wife is gonna be doing some driving as well. We're gonna be going to the Grand Canyon here in another couple weeks, and she's gonna have to drive all the way from one rim to the other rim, and she's gonna be really happy to be able to see what's behind her. That's gonna be really awesome. As a backup camera where you're backing up your RV, it doesn't quite work, but it's not the fault of the backup camera. The real issue is the fact that the A-liner and pop-up campers, you know, they're not that high off the ground, right? And so you really need a little more distance up off the ground in order for you to be able to see more kind of what's happening in your bumper and to be able to get the full view of the trailer, as well as to see what's behind you a little bit more. So what I'm probably gonna do, I'm gonna have to rig up something to the bumper or to the tire carrier, the spare tire carrier, that I have some sort of an extension pole or something like that. And I'll mostly just use that for when I'm backing up into the site. So I'll just hook it up. I'll have a metal plate or something like that, and I'll hook it up basically for backing up. And then when I'm doing just my regular driving, I'll have that in the regular location that I showed you already. So I think that'll work out really well. Now, this camera is relatively cheap. You can get it for $169 on Amazon. It's called the Magnetic Solar 4B backup camera, and it's made by AUTOVOX. And so I'll give you the links and stuff like that in the video's description. And of course, you got your 30-day return policy. But on AUTOVOX's website, they actually have it listed for $139, so $30 off. And then they also have kind of like buy today, you get another $20 off. So you're talking about $119. This is a really great deal. Now it comes with, once again, a 30-day return policy. So if you don't like it, you can return it. And they also have like 18 months of warranty on the camera. And so that's really great as well. Now I did mention that they have the 7-inch version, and the 7-inch version, it also supports 2 cameras. So you might want to check that out as well. So is it worth it? I think it is. I think just the fact that it has that digital rear view mirror capability when you hook it up on the back of your RV and you can see what's behind you all the time when you're driving, that gives you a lot of peace of mind. And I think I can rig it up, and I think if you just have the camera up a little bit higher, I think it's gonna make a great backup camera. So I think it's well worth the money. And yeah, I hope to see you in the next video again very soon.